In the heart of Rome, as the storm clouds of war gathered over Europe, Benito Mussolini faced a fateful choice. Should he join his Axis partner, Adolf Hitler, in a pact of aggression? Or should he steer Italy on a different course, one of neutrality? Mussolini, the charismatic leader of fascist Italy, had cultivated an image of strength and ambition. He dreamed of restoring the Roman Empire to its former glory, of establishing Italy as a dominant force in the Mediterranean and beyond. Yet beneath the veneer of bluster and bravado there lay a deep-seated pragmatism. Italy in 1939 was ill-prepared for the maelstrom of a global conflict. The stage was set for a pivotal decision, one that would have far-reaching consequences. Italy, in 1939, found itself at a crossroads of history. Still recovering from the economic turmoil of the Great Depression, the nation grappled with internal divisions and the legacy of World War I. Mussolini's ambitious vision for a new Roman Empire had captivated many, but the reality of Italy's situation painted a more complex picture. The Italian military, though large in numbers, suffered from significant weaknesses. Its equipment, particularly its tanks and aircraft, lagged behind the technological advancements of potential enemies like Great Britain and France. Economically, Italy remained vulnerable. Its industrial base, while experiencing some growth under Mussolini's rule, paled in comparison to the industrial powerhouses of Germany and Great Britain. Public opinion within Italy presented another layer of complexity. While many Italians had initially embraced Mussolini's brand of fascism, the prospect of another devastating war evoked widespread anxiety. In this context of uncertainty and apprehension, the question of Italy's role in the looming conflict became a subject of intense debate. Within the hallowed halls of power in Rome, where decisions of great consequence were made, a chorus of voices urged caution and restraint. Military advisors, acutely aware of the glaring shortcomings of Italy's armed forces, argued that the nation was woefully ill-prepared for a major war. They pointed to the severe deficiencies in equipment, training and logistics as insurmountable obstacles to any hope of success on the battlefield. Economists, too, sounded the alarm about the fragility of Italy's economy. They argued that a prolonged conflict would strain the nation's already limited resources, disrupt vital trade, and plunge the country into economic chaos and widespread hardship. Public sentiment, though difficult to gauge with certainty in a totalitarian state, appeared to favor a more cautious approach. The horrors and devastation of World War I, still fresh in the minds of many Italians, had instilled a deep aversion to war. Even within the ranks of the fascist party, doubts and reservations lingered. Some prominent figures, while outwardly supportive of Mussolini, privately questioned the wisdom of aligning Italy with Hitler's Germany and the potential consequences. In this environment of uncertainty and apprehension, the case for neutrality gained significant traction among various factions. But could Mussolini, a man driven by ambition, a thirst for glory and a desire for historical legacy, resist the siren song of conquest and expansion? With Italy remaining neutral, the North African campaign takes on a drastically different character. Without Italian troops to contend with, British forces find themselves with a surplus of manpower and resources. The Western Desert Force, no longer bogged down in a grueling back and forth with the Italians, can now focus its attention squarely on the German Africa Corps. The absence of the Italian front has a profound impact on German strategy. Deprived of a key ally, Hitler is forced to divert valuable resources and troops to North Africa to prop up the faltering Italian colonies. Rommel, the Desert Fox, finds himself starved of reinforcements and supplies. The British, emboldened by their successes, launch a series of offensives, gradually pushing the Germans and their dwindling Italian colonial forces back across the scorching sands of North Africa. The Suez Canal, a vital lifeline for the British Empire, remains firmly in Allied hands. Section 5. A cautious dance, the Allies, and a neutral Italy. With Italy choosing neutrality at the outset of World War II, the Allies initially treat Mussolini's regime with a great deal of suspicion and caution. The memory of Italy's last-minute entry into World War I on the side of the Central Powers serves as a cautionary tale for the Allies. reminding them of the unpredictable nature of Italian politics. The Allies are wary of Italian intentions, unsure if they can truly trust Mussolini to remain neutral throughout the conflict, given his past actions and rhetoric. However, as the war progresses and the dynamics shift, the Allies come to see a neutral Italy as a potential strategic asset rather than a liability. Italy's geographic position, controlling access to the central Mediterranean, makes it a valuable prize for both sides, influencing naval and trade routes. The Allies recognize the importance of keeping Italy out of Axis hands, even if it means tolerating Mussolini's regime and its policies for the time being. The Allies engage in a delicate balancing act, offering economic incentives and diplomatic overtures to keep Italy on side, ensuring it does not tilt towards the Axis powers. They allow Italy to maintain trade with both sides, providing much-needed raw materials and goods, which are essential for the Italian economy. This economic lifeline proves crucial in maintaining stability within Italy and preventing a collapse of the Italian economy, which could have dire consequences. The Allies also refrain from any actions that might be perceived as hostile by Italy, such as bombing raids on Italian cities or naval blockades, to avoid pushing Italy into the arms of the Axis. Section 6. The Italian Miracle. Economic prosperity and political stability. With the spectre of war lifted, Italy experiences a period of relative peace and prosperity. The streets of Rome and other cities buzz with renewed energy and optimism. The Italian economy, no longer burdened by the costs of war, begins to recover. Factories that once produced war materials now shift to consumer goods and industrial products. Factories hum with activity, producing goods for both domestic consumption and export. This industrial boom lays the foundation for Italy's economic resurgence. The absence of wartime rationing and shortages leads to a rise in living standards for many Italians. Markets are filled with fresh produce and a variety of goods. Consumer goods, once scarce, become more readily available. Italians can now enjoy products that were once considered luxuries. A sense of normalcy returns to everyday life, a stark contrast to the hardship and uncertainty that grip much of Europe. Families stroll through parks and cafes are bustling with patrons. Mussolini, his ambitions tempered by the realities of the war, adopts a more pragmatic approach to governance. His speeches reflect a focus on rebuilding and unity. He focuses on internal development, investing in infrastructure projects and social programs. Roads, bridges, and public buildings are constructed, providing jobs and boosting morale. While his regime remains authoritarian, it becomes more tolerant and less repressive. Political dissent is still limited, but there is a noticeable easing of restrictions. The Italian people, grateful for the peace and stability that neutrality has brought, rally around Mussolini. Public support for his leadership grows as the country rebuilds. Italy emerges from the war as a beacon of stability in a region torn apart by conflict. Its recovery serves as a model for other nations striving for peace and prosperity. Section 7. The global chessboard, a shift in the balance of power. With Italy remaining neutral, the global balance of power shifts subtly but significantly. The Axis powers, deprived of a key ally, find themselves stretched thin. Hitler, furious with Mussolini's betrayal, is forced to divert valuable resources and manpower to secure his southern flank. The Allies, emboldened by Italy's neutrality, are able to focus their efforts on defeating Germany. The absence of the Italian front frees up troops and resources for the campaigns in North Africa and Western Europe. The Soviet Union, no longer facing a two-front war, is able to concentrate its forces against the German invasion. The Red Army, bolstered by American and British aid, pushes back against the Wehrmacht with renewed vigor. The war in Europe, while still brutal and costly, ends sooner than in our timeline. With the combined might of the Allies and the Soviet Union brought to bear, Germany is defeated. Section 8. A world transformed. The enduring impact of Italian neutrality. The ramifications of Italy's neutrality extend far beyond the immediate post-war period. Europe, spared the devastation of a prolonged conflict on Italian soil, recovers more quickly. The European Union, a beacon of unity and cooperation, emerges stronger and more cohesive. Italy, having avoided the economic and social upheaval of war, becomes a major economic power in post-war Europe. Its industries flourish, its tourism sector booms, and its people enjoy a high standard of living. The absence of a Cold War divide in Europe has profound implications for global politics. The world, shaped by a different course of history, is a more peaceful and prosperous place. Section 9. A question of what if, reflecting on the possibilities. The decision facing Mussolini in those fateful days of 1939 was one of immense consequence. While we can only speculate on the myriad ways in which history might have unfolded had Italy chosen neutrality, one thing is certain: the world would be a very different place today. So I leave you with this question. What do you think would have happened if Italy had remained neutral during World War II? Share your thoughts and let's explore the possibilities together.